All right then. There's my squeaky chair as I lean back and get stuck into what might take me a while. Yeah, Mr. Cerasani, the greatest of all time, the greatest blackjack player who ever picked up a chip, all the other daft things that he says on his channel. I have a go at him a lot, mainly because of the absolute nonsense that he talks about being the best that ever was. I mean, he's arguably one of the worst blackjack players I've ever witnessed. Um, I don't want to say in action because it isn't action. It's kind of like, I don't know, Snoozeville, really. He made some money this time, and I'm happy for him, but he could have done so much better. And who knows what's going to happen with these new style things that I'm doing right now? I can hear people screaming copyright and complaining, and all I can say about that is that I think that these people who set themselves up as role models, in a sense, as examples of how you can have fun at gambling, how exciting it is, how thrilling, how clever they are with the way that they do things. I think that because they step into the spotlight and do what they do and say what they set themselves up to be judged. And I expect to be judged by anybody who thinks I'm full of crap and to be challenged on it. And I've got numbers galore to back me up. In sessions like this one, for instance. And yeah, there are people out there who think, boy, he's cheating. He's not doing it. He's not doing the right thing. This just doesn't make sense. He must be doing something wrong. And I'm sorry, people. I am not. I am obsessively, anally accurate. I find mistakes in my work and I fix them. I announce them. I've never pretended to be perfect. I've never pretended to be a genius. And I've certainly never pretended to be the best blackjack player who ever picked up a card. And I've demonstrated over many, many, many years that I'm a damn sight better than John Cerasani, but I still wouldn't even think of saying that I deserve some sort of crown or accolade or whatever. And God, I mean, I got the guy pointing his finger at the camera and shaking it and saying, "You have witnessed greatness." God, he's mad. Anyway, let's have a look at these. Oh, that's just a summary of the attached Excel analysis. It's for the benefit of people who don't want to look at numbers but will glance at them. If you want to improve your game, then pay attention. If you don't want to improve your game, or if you think I'm mad, then don't pay attention. Up to you. Anyway, here we go. Let's explain what this is all about. Current streak is where we're at, and of course this is the first bet, so we're nowhere. 0-0. And then down here is what happens in this round. So JC wins 1,000, and so he's got 1,000 in the tank. He's got an extra 1,000 in front of him. Pattern betting bets 25, and so it's 25. And over here with the till and ka-ching, that's where if the dealer gets 22, then I note it, because dealer 22s are very important. They make a big difference to the profitability of the game. And all of these guys, or most of these guys, I haven't seen Cerasani do it, but certainly I've seen Vegas Matt promoting things like free bet blackjack, and double down madness. And they should be bloody well ashamed of themselves, because those games boost the house advantage by more than double. And anybody who pretends to be a friend of the players out there who promotes those games is nobody's friend. That's what I say up the top there. Don't please imagine that your Vegas Mats and your Bobby Rivases and so on, and your John Cerasanis and your Dana Whites and Crazy Cody Burn Money and so on, that they're in this for your benefit. They're not. They're in it for themselves. And that's the American way, of course, but they are doing great harm. So, round two. And I think, I don't think I need to say much. all the information is in front of you there. So, and you can stop and you can speed up and you can do all of those good things. I will mention this because he just lost one, obviously. I think there's 2,000 out there. I think that's right. Yeah. Sometimes it's hard with him to know what the bets are, but usually what I do is when he announces them, then obviously that's what goes in my log. And if he doesn't announce them, then I just have to squint and judge that way. So if there's a mistake in there, then maybe somebody can point it out and I'll fix it. But I don't think it's a big deal in the end. Yeah, when you see zeros obviously down the bottom there, it's a push. That makes sense, right? There were two rounds here. Um, one of them was a winner. No, one of them was a push or whatever. Yeah, one of them was a push over there on the left hand side. I did screw up, by the way. Occasionally, I've said I'm only betting the first base left hand bets. The left hand part is wrong. It's not first. Oh, sorry, the first base part is wrong. It's third base, but it is left hand. I tend to think of it as first base only because when I step up to the table, it's the first spot on my left, going left to right, because that's how we read in the West, right? And so that's a mistake. I apologize. If you've read anything from me saying I only played the Fadudid and whatever, it's not it's not the middle bets. Most of the time it doesn't matter. Because if he's only betting one bet, then that's it, right? But anyway, here we go. I'll just shut up now for a bit. Oh, and obviously, red, you all have got this. But red is bad and green is good. So, that's so red is for losers and red is for holes. And that's how that works. In a way, it makes it easy for me because he bets flat most of the time. So I don't have to do as much work as I do with pattern betting. And you saw pattern betting's low earlier on. I think it was 3,650. John is getting more and more into deep water here. Deep doo doo. Yeah, that's his worst, 18,000. Great nails that girl has. I assume it's a girl. You can't tell these days sometimes. Uh, Big difference here, you might notice. JC's in the hole. Pattern betting is not. Oh, TA. I meant to take those out, actually. It just means turn around. That was a goodie. And as you see, right after that big win, pattern betting goes back to 25. And I completely get that it'd be very unlikely that you could do that at the same table. But that's how it has to be. You have to follow the rule. Win it, then min it. So as soon as you got your money, and what you'll see from the Excel analysis that follows is that there were about 25 turnarounds for pattern betting. John had 2. You need those turnarounds. You need to sort of get out of trouble, back to the minimum, start a new battle. And of course, it says rounds up there because this is a fight. I didn't want to say hand number, round number, because you are in a battle. You're in the ring, and those guys on the other side of the table, girls, whoever they are, whichever they are, they want your money. It's a battle of wits. You, if you're lucky, have more wits than they do because they're basically robots. You're the one with the brains, so take them for their money instead of giving them yours. Hey, another ka-ching. Yeah, it's funny because the champion for the dealer 22 wins is Degen Dalt. Yeah, young. I think Dalton Webb. I think that's his name. Yeah, he's a very likable guy, but boy, he's just losing right now. I mean, it's very sad, very sad. I guess he'll be my next subject. He has a wonderful editor, Kyle, who puts everything up on the screen, so it's going to save me a lot of work. Number of wins, number of losses, what the bet is, what the loss was, blah 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 blah. So he's really good. Yeah, I may well get this thing struck off or whatever, and then I'll just appeal, go to court if necessary. As you can see, John is still in the red in the hole, and PB is not. Yeah, there are some people who sort of say, yeah, well, that if there are 2 naturals, then it's 0.4 times 0.4, which is whatever bollocks. It's the same for each side, and it's a 0.4. It's a 4% possibility or probability for each side, and if it's a coincidence, it's a coincidence. That's all. Yeah, Johnson deep doo doo again. Pattern betting is not. I mean, the way that John bets, he's entitled to do what he wants with his money, but I mean, it really is pathetic. It's just pathetic. Greatest. Go on. Okay, so from round 120 to round 158, he gets it all his own way, or nearly all his own way. It's amazing. He could have made so much more. What happened there? That's odd. Oh, never mind. Yeah, that's really annoying, isn't it? When you get a fluke 21 and then the dealer gets a fluke 21. Huh! Got to be crooked. 'He's catching up. Oops. 12,000 now from those ka-chings. Wonderful, isn't it? And there's these guys promoting those shitty games with Dealer 22 as a push. I think they should be ashamed of themselves. But of course, they're professional peddlers. They're touts, they're hawkers, they're barkers, shills, frontmen. They just don't admit it. – 14,000. That's nearly what he won. Well, another 2,250 on top of that. And he did incredibly well with double downs too. He won 11 and lost 4. That's called player advantage. But he doesn't take advantage. That's his big problem. All right, so there he is, 16,250. Took his greatness to the very last bet to overtake pattern betting. Pattern betting did very nicely on 14,688 on action of 58,440, and he's 16,250 on action of 193,250. So there you have it. I did leave another page to put a message on there at the bottom of this, but I think I've said my piece. And, I'll just say what I always say to you folks out there, take it or leave it, believe it or not. But trust me, I'm not a liar, I'm not a fool, and I'm not a crook. And I'm not interested in monetizing this YouTube thing. All I'm interested in is trying to get people to think before they go into a casino with bugger all money, damn all understanding of what they're up against, and then end up getting hosed, wrecked, destroyed, all those other things. So that's it. Okay, bye-bye. Okay, so I got to admit, I feel a bit of a wally about this new direction I've taken, the sort of tracking the professional losers on YouTube project. It's a new direction. And I thought, you know what I need to do is I need to do something that's just a little bit more graphic, a little bit more detailed, because it's all very well to say that somebody bets stupidly, recklessly, badly, ignorantly, idiotically, dangerously, whatever, and just show the numbers. So I thought, okay, well, what if I draft a PowerPoint in and I use that to create a kind of a slideshow and then just add a few explanatory graphics and so on? How long can that take? And I thought to myself, well, maybe half a day. 3 days later, you know, I'm looking at the reality. But the most important thing to say about this particular session with John Cerasani, who I think is arguably the worst blackjack player I've ever watched for any length of time, and that doesn't actually, it's not quite fair, because I think that Vegas Matt and his crew are probably worse. But the difference is that Cerasani sits down and plays for hours. He plays at about a third of regular playing speed because he talks so much. But that's okay. At least using screenshots, I can sort of jump over that and I can double speed him and I can do all that sort of thing. And as long as I get the bets down and as long as I get the right picture and whatever. But he is fascinating because he is so pedestrian. And I'm not saying that just to attack him, just to be nasty or whatever. It is simply the evidence of my own eyes. And I don't think that anybody who has played blackjack seriously for any length of time could watch this guy and say, oh yeah, that's the way to do it. That's what you need to do. I mean, he is really awful. And that in itself is not a crime. It's his money, it's his time, it's up to his audience to accept him or not. But the problem with Cerasani is that he has gone on record several times as saying that he is the best of all time. And that is really annoying, especially for, someone like me. I mean, I first started playing blackjack in school as a kid of, I don't know, whatever the hell I was, 10 years old, something like that, boarding school. Younger than that, probably. And back then it was called Pontoon, but it's the same game, just exactly the same. The difference is that, when somebody gets a blackjack, a natural, then they, if you're in a circle of people, then you hand the deck and the bank to the guy with the natural. That's the only difference. I have a few little wrinkles here and there, but double downs are a Las Vegas invention, I think. Las Vegas has added some good things and done away with others, but that's beside the point. What I'm trying to say is that when you've played blackjack for as long as I have, and I started in Las Vegas in the late 70s and got some fabulous lessons from some really lovely people who knew their shit, and any of those people would look at Cerasani and say, what? So that's how it is. And I don't know whether it's an indication of some kind of incredible courage when you're very pedestrian to stand up in front of the world and say, I'm the greatest there ever was. I mean, what is it? It's madness, isn't it? Anyway, this is all the summary of how Cerasani did this time. And he had it very much his own way in the end. You can see from the AV tracker here, he went down quite a bit to 17 down at one point, and then he got a boost, then down again, and then he sort of went into a kind of like a snooze mode where he went up a little bit, and then the cards turned his way, and bang, he got out of trouble. In fact, all he did was break even, he says in the video. He broke even on his circa adventures 6 sessions in a row, but I think they were basically just taped. He just stopped the camera for a bit and then started over again. I don't know, none of my business, don't care. But he won 16,250 pattern betting, playing rules that you can double check anywhere in the videos that I've posted online over the last many months. Games of blackjack played in real time, not for real money, but against the Wizard of Oz sim, and you can see there the rules are the same. So I'm not sort of adjusting anything. I'm just, playing the way that it's demonstrated, has been demonstrated over many, many, many hours. Pattern betting won 14,690 against his 16,250. But here's the difference. His action was 193,250. So his win was 8.4%, right, of his total action. Pattern betting's action was 58,440, all right? So that means that pattern betting's win was 25.1% of its total action. Now, this matters because the most important thing about pattern betting is that it kicks ass even when things are negative, okay? It gets ahead and wins. And to demonstrate that, we go down here and see where everything went sort of like, it was just awful in the first, 35, that's here, these rounds here, And even after we were 12 bets behind, boom, 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 pattern betting delivered a win. Now, yes, there was a bet there that was enormous. It was 3,000, and it hit a blackjack, hit a natural. So that was a 4,500 payoff, which put us nicely in the black. And then we come on down here, and we're still negative. Look at this. This is where it counts. Okay, down this column here, where that little nudger is moving up and down right now, and we're still moving ahead and ahead and ahead and ahead and ahead. And that's, see, look at this. We're down to minus 10 again here. Where the wheels came off again, and pattern betting is up 6,800 nearly. Watches features is down 12,500. You've got to have a strategy which can win in spite of you losing more bets than you won. It is critical. It's not, my other big thing about these guys, and I don't know whether there's going to be a copyright strike against me. I can't guess. I only know that I'm grossly offended by Vegas Matt hitting me with 3-4 copyright strikes on absolute bullshit. One of the things was a thing from 2024. The others were old, sort of months old. And all he's trying to do is to get me kicked off the platform, which I find offensive, okay? But then I don't like Vegas Matt at all because I think that what he's doing is horrible. This is not anything new from me. I have emailed them, I've contacted them and said that what you're doing is disgusting. What they're doing is they're promoting gambling, they're glamorizing gambling while facing no jeopardy whatsoever themselves. So he's saying my gambling is as real as it gets, and it's a bloody lie because he gets his money back. He doesn't give a shit what happens, This is the finale, he calls it, and there's the link down there. Oh, I just had that in there because that's the number of times. 81% of the time he bet a flat 1,000, which is just insane. You cannot beat these games unless you win more bets than you lose, and that's what these pro losers rely on. They don't get there very often, but by golly, at the end of the day, he was 16 bets ahead. 16 bets ahead. So, it's not that brilliant what he's succeeded in doing here. Here is his performance. He got 18,000 down, went up to what's that there, 4,000 down, and then down again to 12,500 down, and then he came up to here, 14,250, and then finally with the last bet, which was 2,500, and then he got a successful double down at 0.158. It's textbook professional loser. That's the way he plays. That's the way he is. And, I just feel these guys need to be examined. They need to be challenged. They need to be looked into. And I would love to stop them. A lot of them. All of the professional losers. The Bobby Rivases, the Vegas Matts, the Cerasanis, anybody who is basically producing ads for gambling glamorizing gambling, making it look exciting, making losing look like fun, although John Cerasani is not as good at that as some. At least he started to say just that sucks, but most of the time he bangs the table and he calls down the name of God and he F's and blinds and jumps up and down and goes off to some secret place and bangs his head on the wall and gets very, very worked up. And obviously he's heard me or he's heard somebody comment on that, because now he's saying, that's just an act. That's just an act. And I suppose he'll say the same thing about lying about his status in the world of blackjack, claiming he's the greatest of all time, and saying things like, I've never lost. I'm a lifetime winner everywhere I've ever played. It's a bloody lie, man. It's a big fat porky, as they like to say in England. That's Cockney rhyming slang, which comes from pork pies, lies. So then we talk about porkies here. And he is porky, 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 porky pig. No way this guy is winning all the time, any more than Vegas Matt is ahead for the last 12 months, 13, 14 and a half months, whatever the hell it is now, 13 and a half months. And Dana White is another one. He talks about winning 16.5 million at Caesars. Bullshit. Absolute bullshit. So, anyway, that's the story. What else did I need to tell you? I know there was something else in here that I needed to tell you. Oh, yeah, his average win, 1,188. His average loss, 1,087. Not good enough. You need to win more when you win, as I keep telling you. So pattern betting managed an average win of 753, average loss 328. So that's an average win over average loss of 223% compared to John's 109%. So that's not really very clever on his part, is it? Let's face it. Look at the shape of this. He got there in the end. He got all the way down here and then all the way up there. Meanwhile, pattern betting is going quite sort of comfortably with a few nasty little shocks along the way, but still making it. Lowest point was 3,600 compared to his 18,000. Fell back down here to 625. What did he come down to here? He was at 11,500 down when I was 625 down. Here, pattern betting was up 6,363 when he was down 12,500. So, folks, make of this whatever you want. Call me crazy, say I'm cheating, and it was stupid stuff like that. There is no way that somebody with more than half a brain, and I promise you I have more than half a brain, I'm not a stable genius, but I'm certainly smarter than the arsehole in the White House. But then so is everybody. So that's the story. And on this worksheet now, I've got Vegas Matt. He screwed up. Mr. Handpay. Look at that. That's rude. There we go. Mr. Handpay, similar problems. Mr. Handpay 2. Again, he won. But I was at 30% of action. He was at 13.4%. And then here we've got the goat who ain't. That's dear old Cerasani. I just don't understand how he can look himself in the mirror, because, he's got to be saying to himself, God, you're a fucking liar. But, hey, it's a free country, free world, whatever. So I'll go away now. Bye. Yeah, as usual, I managed to forget a couple of things, the points that I wanted to make, before I leave you to either reject or take action or pay attention to the stuff that I'm giving you here. But expected win or indicated win is something that is actually important, because what you do is you take the actual value. In other words, as explained down here, that's I think most people understand what AV means. But you take the actual value and then you multiply that percentage by the total action, and it gives you an expected value. Okay, so based upon the AV and your action, if you were flat betting, which John is most of the time, He should have won 19,201. So his peculiar way of doing things fell 18% short. He didn't do as well as he could have. If he'd been flat betting, no big sort of flashy oopsie bets or whatever, no Hail Marys, just steady betting, he should have come out with 19,201 instead of 16,250. Pattern betting's expected or indicated win per the actual value 2,774. Actually, what happened, because of the way that the strategy works and because it really does work, it really is viable and gets the job done, 14,700 near enough was the win instead of 2,770. And that's important stuff. And then the other thing is the underwater thing here. John Cerasani was underwater, in other words, in the hole, 65% of the time, okay, before he got saved. His ass was saved by this sudden turnaround, this sudden sort of surge in his favour, or our favour, right there. Pattern betting was underwater just 14% of the time, all right? So pattern betting was underwater down to, where did we get out of trouble and then he stayed out of trouble? We're down here somewhere. I'm not doing this right. Here it is. Yeah, okay. So we just had that little stretch up there and then this little stretch down here. Then we came out of the hole at bet number 35 and we didn't go back in the hole after that. Oh, yes, we did. Just a little bit here. 625 in the hole. And then boom, boom, boom. And, so that, all of this stuff, if you're a recreational blackjack player and you're not interested in the numbers behind the game, you're not interested in losing, less often. You just think it's all enormous fun, like the guy on YouTube I mentioned several times who said when he's got a big bet on the table and he thinks he's more likely to lose than to win, it gives him a hard on. How pathetic is that, for God's sake? There are much better ways to get one of those. But hey, like I keep saying, it's a free country, free world. Weird people are out there, and as long as somebody wants to watch them, I'm not getting a very big audience, but I'm in the wrong place, because I'm dealing with an audience basically of idiots who don't care about the numbers and don't want to know anything about the best way to play the game. So, I'm a bit stuck. I do intend to do some serious promotional work at some point, and most of these professional losers, of course, spend a small fortune, making sure that they're well promoted by YouTube, by Google, by whatever, so that boosts their numbers considerably. But I don't want to get into that kind of expense until I'm absolutely convinced that I've got the best possible thing going on, that I've figured out all the wrinkles, that I'm providing the best possible information. So I'm kind of basically towing the water all the time and also waiting for the copyright strike to hit so I can then have a big battle with YouTube, because I will certainly, as a journalist all my life, I will certainly go to the press with it. And I would love to see YouTube examined for the way that they're just putting a middle finger up at all of the controls around the world of advertising for gambling. It's just not allowed. But YouTube is doing it day after day after day. And all these shills, the Vegas Matts, the Bobby Rivas's, the Dana Whites, all the other bloody performing seals, they're all, making a fortune out of basically putting people in danger. And if your Vegas Mats and so on were to look around them and see the damage that's done by gambling, they might then think to themselves, well, wait a minute, I'm promoting gambling. I'm trying to get more people to come in and gamble. I'm trying to make more money for the casino so they'll take care of me. Maybe I shouldn't do that. Maybe people are going to die. Maybe they're going to commit crimes. Maybe their families are going to break up. Maybe their kids can't go to college. They're tossed out on the street, foreclosed on, because all the money's gone into the casinos. I mean, come on, Vegas Matt. Put your bloody thinking cap on and stop being so damn selfish.